Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Half-Hearted. My guest today is James Cummins. He is, I don't know. I don't know. You're doing a lot in the city of Toronto when it comes to comedy. You've toured the East Coast. You're about to head to the West Coast.
Right.
I wanted to get you in before you left.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming out, man.
Oh, I love to be here, man. Thanks for having me. I love being a guest on people's podcasts. I feel like I'm a great guest.
So humble.
Well, hey, some people are good at things. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like this is going to be a good one because we are twinning right now with our outfits. I feel like this is like mentally this is going to be a very in sync.
Is there two cameras or is this a one camera setup?
It's just one camera.
Because when I look at your clips, it looks like each person has their own camera, but
It's called Opus Clip. It's like an AI video editor, and so it takes a landscape video and then we'll make it separate. Like it'll split it to vertical, so it looks
wow,
like two cameras. But yeah, it's just the
you have
one.
to pay for that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a lot. It's worth it, but it's the amount of work
Sounds cool,
the amount of work you save in editing.
Yeah.
It's just like the first two I edited myself. And I was constantly like switching, like panning from left to right for each person that was speaking. And it was like, it was
Opus
so
just goes-
time consuming.
Opus just goes, this guy's moving his mouth or the sound's coming from him. So I'll cut it for that guy.
Yeah.
And they go back and forth. Because I've done my own podcast too, but it's like the editing is a bitch.
Yeah.
And it's like, not to like rain on your parade here or anything, but after me trying out like 8-9 different podcasts, I've kind of realized long form content is not a good start.
Well, I mean, here's the thing is my thought was long form content. You're building something from the ground up. And I think for people to want to latch onto long form, it's going to take time.
It is.
But you can harvest it for clips. You can harvest it for the shorts and for the reels. And that's where the value comes in. And it's advertisement for the long form.
100%. Yeah.
Right.
Consistency is key. If you keep it going, do you do this once a week?
Yeah, well, I'm putting out once a week, but I'm talking to you now, and then at 7, I'm doing a Skype one, and then I have another one on Tuesday, and I already have some people lined up. So I'm trying to release them weekly, but when the stars, it's hard to schedule people.
It is. That's why you should have one in the bank too.
Oh, I've got So yeah,
it's just this is coming from a guy that has not had any success doing anything. But from what I hear, consistency is key. You have to keep them coming out every week that same time. As much as you want the algorithm to feed you, the algorithm wants you to feed it.
Yes.
So like you have to be a part of it. And like I don't know, I've seen some people have a lot of success, and I always ask them how they're doing it, and it's always main thing is consistency.
Yeah.
Always posting on the same day, making sure that comes out. Like it's just part of it. Like if you want your shit to blow up, that's how it goes. Anyways, I'm happy to be here. Jay made me wear a gray sweater. He's like, I want to look like twins.
All my guests have to match me or else.
Yeah. So Half-Hearted, what do we do here?
Well, first of all, I didn't know quite how to start this one, but
Okay.
I mentioned to our mutual friend Harv Katau yesterday that I was having you on.
And what did he say?
And he said, because I haven't been on a show with you in a while, and Harv said that you are like crushing it as a host these days, specifically as a host, that like your crowd work is just like you're doing like 15 minutes of like crusher crowd work stuff. And so I feel like I've just watched you from afar and been seeing you really like kind of expand in the scene and going up. And do you feel like you've like turned a corner in your comedy lately?
Oh,
or
for sure.
something? Yeah. Okay.
Like as everyone does, if you do everything a lot, if you do something a lot, you're going to get better at it. Harv, he was very complimentary to me last time I saw him, mostly about the crowd work stuff. And he's just like how he was about to leave the room, but he's like when he saw me go. So basically we were on a show where everyone was kind of doing mid, struggling a little bit. The crowd was kind of like being difficult. And even me, like I wasn't hosting that one. I was going up at the end. And I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if these guys are going to, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to loosen up because they just seem like not a comedy crowd. Like they were there for like kind of a work event, somebody's birthday. I don't know. There's a bunch of people there for one thing and they weren't giving much. But when I went up, and when other people were doing crowd work with them, I'm not bragging on myself, but when other people were doing crowd work on them, they weren't like giving them good answers. They were very short. So I'm like, fuck, if I can't even like crowd work with these guys, how am I going to loosen them up? But I don't know. They gave me everything. Like when I went up there, I just started smashing. And Harv was like, I was about to leave the room, but he's like, I saw somehow you got them fucking going crazy. So I was like, I had to stay and watch the thing. And he was very like, yeah, how'd you get better at crowd work? So I'll say this, like anything else, if you want to get better at something, do it a lot. So what I did last year is I would go to this music open mic that they don't do comedy there, and I would go up and just do crowd work for 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's 10-minute sets.
Yeah.
And like some of them would go good, some of them wouldn't. But either way, I got better at crowd work. And music crowds, it's interesting because for musicians, they can chit chat throughout. Like, so they're not ready to like just pay attention to one person. Like the music's in the background.
Yeah, I mean, musicians definitely have it easier in the sense of like they don't have to make people laugh. They can be not the center of attention in a live venue, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Whereas like as a comic, you need to bring it. Well, and what you're saying is like, I want to ask Danny Martinello to come on because I heard that he just did crowd work or no material for a whole year.
A whole year, wow.
A whole year he just dedicated to working that skill.
Yeah.
And so is there anything that you learned, anything that like that you feel like, oh, I can go back to like this trick or asking these types of questions?
So personally, the one thing that I'll just tell everyone is I don't like I guess there is some people that have like set questions and everything like that, which like there's some basics. What do you do for work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, I think how I got better at it is somebody gave me the advice to just say, don't look for what's funny. Just look for questions that you're generally interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And then something good will come from it. And usually it does. Like,
yeah,
if you just get them started going on something, whatever it is, like, I don't know, like, so if I'm hosting, I'll go to, I'm there before the show starts, obviously, because I'm hosting, and I'll start looking around the room. Sometimes I'll overhear conversations.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll notice this guy's got a funny hat on or whatever. So I'm already like, in my mind, I'm already like, okay, I'm going to ask them about this, I'm going to ask this about that. And when I do the corner, there's one bartender there named Nikki, who, if you just stand by the bar and listen to the way she takes orders, she gets so much information out of people. Sometimes she's like punking people. Like, I saw a guy come up and he's like, oh, I'll get a White Claw, and then I don't know if my girl wants, and then she's like, beta males, can't even order a drink for his woman. And I'm just sitting. So sometimes you just stand around and you're in the environment, you hear stuff going on, you just can't wait to talk to people about like what just happened.
Yes.
Like right before, and then it's a fun jumping off point.
I will do that too sometimes. I'll be taking notes about what's going on in the room or who said this or who said that. And then what I find, I have two problems, which is one, I'll forget a lot of it. I'll forget, like, you get on stage and all the stuff that you thought you were going to be able to talk about is gone.
Right.
Or you're trying to talk to somebody and they're not giving you anything, and then you get scared, and then you move on or stumble or something like that, and then it doesn't work out. Like I'm sure you've seen it too, where like somebody's hosting the show, opening the show as the host, and then it's not going well, and they're like 2 minutes in, they're like, okay, let's bring up your first comic. Like they just totally bail.
Yeah.
Okay, so
those can be a little startling.
Yeah, well then you realize if that happens, like if you're the first comic, you're like, okay, I guess I'm the host.
But you know what? With that, when people give up too early and they say, okay, let me bring it. This is another thing that I tell everyone to practice, and everyone looks at me like you're a fucking idiot. Or some people get it. Practice bombing.
Yeah, okay.
Develop okay, so when I was in my first year or two of comedy, so the first couple times I did it, I just smashed at this weed venue. The crowd was like a young urban crowd. They loved me. It felt like comedy was easy.
Yes.
Then I went to a bar, got super humble. There was like an older, more mature crowd. They hated everything I said. Everything was dick and pussy. They were like, what the fuck? And so then if I smashed a couple times in a row, I would go to somewhere where I know I'm gonna get humbled for one. And also you develop that thick skin where it's like, okay, they're not giving me anything. Now, sometimes you have like a fun riff off how bad it just went.
Yes.
Like, I guess you guys don't like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So whatever, like just a fun little thing. And then that can maybe get them laughing. Either way, it's good for you to practice having an audience that hates you. And I know killing is fun, but like, man, I kill and I get off stage and I'm like, that was sick. I'm the man, whatever. But like, I'm not getting better off the times that I kill. I'm usually getting better off the times where I get smoked up there, and then I think about how I could fucking do better next time.
Well, yeah, I mean, failure is learning.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like every time you fail, it's like at least you figured something out about what you could do differently next time.
Yeah.
I like that you brought up that old people didn't like dick and pussy jokes.
Yeah.
Well, it just reminds me of the first I think one of the first times I met you, we drove
London?
to do that show in London, and one of the first questions you asked me is, have you ever cheated on your wife?
Yeah.
Like, what? You're very into sex in your material. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. I like when I first started comedy, like all my jokes were pussy, and
Yeah.
I had just been working at a strip club before, like all of that was on my mind.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about that.
Listen to too much rap music growing up, probably. Bitches and hoes, and like I love women, in not a bitches and hoes way, in a like
in a respectful
way, but yeah, I think I have been brainwashed in the sense of my mind goes to like, yeah, I love hoes. I do love hoes too. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's been a problem in my life. I seem to like I've attracted some good girls, but I've attracted a lot of hoes, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying to be a slut shamer. I love sluts. I love everything they've ever done for me in my life.
Yes,
and and in my 20s, me and sluts had a great relationship. But in my 30s, now that I'm getting older and a little more fatter and a little more sensitive, like I've got my feelings hurt a couple times.
Well, I remember in that same instance when we were driving to London, I obviously I got married really young, and
And what was the answer again? Did you cheat on your wife?
No. No,
that's not what he said in the car that night, Mrs. Rainville.
No, actually, what I said was, "Does porn count?" And then you laughed at me.
No, you're a really nice, wholesome guy, and I envy that. I envy.
Well, and that's what you said in the car. Is you wished you said if I could have done it again, I would have done what you did.
Well, if I could be, here's the thing: if I had this, I don't know if I could do what you did, because I was with a great girl that was everything I'd want in a mother of my child as a wife, but like I do have this uncontrollable urge inside me to like want new pussy too, which is like tough, and like I don't have the I have too much conscience to stay with a girl and know that I want to fuck other girls, because I could cheat, but I can't do it to my wife, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't think I could, at least. I haven't wanted to put myself in that position, but there's guys like you that have a wife and you're just like, yeah, of course I don't cheat on her. And I'm like, that's great. What a great feeling it is to just be like, I'm just gonna be with this woman and not want other pussy. Like,
well, it's not that you don't like. It's not that you don't want it. Like I'm like every other guy in the sense of like you want that validation. You want to be that person who attracts other people. But I think for me, especially having been married for 16 years now, it's just not worth it. It's just not like cheating on my wife at this point is so dumb. Like it would be exploding my whole life.
Right.
For probably a pretty short interaction.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like that. It's just, and the longer you're with that person, the less it seems appealing to do that. Like, and especially like I'm 40 now, like living that type of life, it's absurd. Like I don't want to be the guy who's like 50 at Burning Man.
Okay, so this is interesting because I'm about to turn 35. I just was away for a month on the East Coast, Montreal, New Brunswick, and like I fucked a couple girls out there. Like I had fun, but on my way back, it was the day before I come back to Toronto, and I'm like, I'm 35 years old, and I'm not coming home to anyone. Like, and it actually made me sad. Like I actually got like pretty in my feelings about it. That I'm like, no one at home is missing me. Like obviously I have friends and family, but like I mean like a woman to come home to is a nice idea. Like especially after you've been away for a while. And it's like, imagine I open my door and there's actually someone excited to see me. I opened my door in an empty apartment, and it was like, I got home and I was fine. But the day before I got home, I was in my feelings, like feeling like, yo, grow up, man. Just fucking, you know what I mean? Because like it's like you saying, that short term gratification, 1 or 2 nights of fun on the road is cool and all. But like I feel like having someone that you love to come home do that, someone that loves you, that's been missing you, that like. That's such a nice thing to have too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not like it's not like I haven't thought about like what I could have done in my 20s and 30s, but now that I'm at where I am, it's I'm good.
How old were you when you got married?
24.
And did you have sex with anyone else before her?
1. That's it. Yeah.
And where's she now?
No idea. We did not stay in contact.
Was it a one-time thing?
No, I had like a long-term girlfriend in high school. And it ended badly. And even then, I wish I could take that back, if I'm honest. Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like this is a good place to bring it back to. So this is what I know about you. You grew up in Brampton.
Yeah.
You were really into dance hall.
Sure.
You love the ladies, and grew up in. I think that might be it. And you've been doing comedy for what, 6, 7?
Yeah, just over 6. Yeah.
6 years. Okay. So what's life for you? What was life for? Where did you actually grow up in Brampton? Or is that somewhere you ended up?
It's all no, yeah, of course. Like, imagine making a fake backstory about growing up in Brampton.
No. I mean, like, you could have been born somewhere else and then moved to Brampton when you were 5.
Born in the Peel Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
In Brampton. I don't even think it exists anymore. Now there's a different one, but yeah, born and raised in Brampton. Lived in 3 different houses, all like within a 5-minute walk from each other. Like my parents just kept slowly elevating to the next level. Like, okay, now we got a house with a bigger backyard. Now we got a house with a pool.
Yeah.
And then they got divorced and we got nothing. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you resentful of that?
It is what it is. Like, when it was happening, like, so my dad and my mom, high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
He didn't fuck around,
Mhm.
right? He was with my mom for 20 something years. And then my dad is like a guy that like he goes to the gym every day. Like he's very like into his looks and like
Okay.
like trying to be good looking and like whatever. He likes flirting with women and stuff too. Like I get that probably from him. But he I guess got to a certain point where he got the attention, or he was getting a lot of attention from some bartender, and then she made him feel like young and in love. But when he left my mom for her, I was like telling him, like, this is just like a high school crush. Like I get what I get. I'm like, I get, sorry, women, I get cheating on your wife, but I don't get leaving her to go live with another woman. Like that just seems stupid to me. And my dad was like thinking he was in love. I'm like, you're an idiot. Within a month or like a month or 2, he was already like, oh, if this lady comes looking for me, tell her I moved to Calgary. Like he fucking just packed up his shit and left her while she was like at work or something. So like he definitely made a mistake. I'm not resentful of it. I'm just like,
I mean,
yeah,
a little bit. You should be. He like, so your dad left your mom for some bartender.
Yeah.
And it was over within a couple months. Like he exploded. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He exploded his whole life.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah. Don't make this a clip.
No. I won't make
Keep
this.
it in the episode, but I don't want to.
No. That's fair. I won't.
I feel bad talking shit about my dad because he's been through whatever. Like,
well, no. I mean, what I was going to say when I said, "Are you resentful of that?" Because my parents got divorced when I was 7, and we were, on our way to upper middle class, and then they end up splitting when I'm 7, and I always felt resentful of that. I always felt like I never got to travel or do or have the things I could have had they been able to hold it together.
Yeah. No, it's fair because. It happened when I was an adult, so I didn't have to like. Gotcha. It didn't change my child or anything. I do feel like I wish I had a home in Brampton to go home to because like once the family split up, whatever, my mom went to Mississauga, my dad went to North York, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like because I still have friends that live there. It would just be nice to be able to say I'm going to go spend the night in Brampton. Yeah. And like you have your family home for Christmases or whatever. So that I don't know if resentful is the right word, but it's like annoying to me that like.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, you get 2 Christmases. Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
2 Christmases all the time.
Oh, I don't even get 2 Christmases. It's basically like Christmas got cut in half and it's pretty slack. It's pretty fucking slack these days.
Did you have siblings?
I have one older sister. Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of, because I know that you had some sort of God experience, but when you were growing up, what impact or influence did religion have on your life?
Like I went to Catholic school my whole life. My mom was pretty like wanting to go to church all the time. Dad was pretty relaxed on it. Like I would say when I was in elementary school, we would go most Sundays.
Okay.
And then by the time I got to high school, I think so my sister decided she was going to be atheist when she was in grade 12. I'm 3 years younger than her, so I'm in grade 9. So I'm like thinking, oh, maybe she has some stuff figured out, whatever. Mm-hmm. And like we did start going to church less that year, or within that high school time.
Yeah.
And I remember she stopped coming, but then Christmas Mass she came to, right? And she ended up throwing up in church. And I remember just looking over and being like, I guess God's real.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it was crowded. It was hot. There could be other reasons. Either way.
She was pregnant.
I've had so many coincidences that with God that I'm like, I'm pretty sure God's real.
Yeah. Okay. I do want to talk more about that. But when you were a kid, how did you feel about it?
I didn't like going to church. I felt like God was cool. I felt like there's some good stories and everything. I've never been like a guy that's like praise Jesus and everything like that. But I've always been like good with like praying and stuff. Like
Okay.
when I was a kid, like I would pray to God, and I feel like I'd get some kind of answers here and there,
Okay.
like pray before bed or whatever. And yeah, I've always had a good relationship with God, whether I like going to church or not. But I didn't
Okay.
really like church as a kid.
Well, and especially if you're going to
Catholic church.
Catholic, it's just
Yeah.
it's so boring.
It is so boring. There's one song that I used to love.
Yeah.
Because our church music is kind of shit at Catholic
Oh
churches.
yeah.
Christian. You grew up what? Christian?
I didn't grow up anything, but when I started going when I was 17, but I was in the evangelical world.
Yeah, I love that.
And like, yeah, we have like, well, Hannah was telling me that you love you like the praise and worship music. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she told me that you actually opened or played in the band for a girl that I love. One of her songs with Elevation Church. It's called "The Blessing." Carrie Jobe. Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I opened for Carrie Jobe.
So did you do the blessing?
No. I don't know if it had been written at that time yet. I don't
Buddy,
think
you missed out on a fucking hit. Oh my God, yo.
Is that the one where they go and your children and your children and your children?
Yeah, it's basically like God loves you so much that not only is He gonna bless you, He's gonna bless your children and your children and your children's children, and it just keeps going on. And it's like, holy shit, God loves me that much. What if my great grandchild is a piece of shit? He's still gonna bless them because I was such a good guy with
That's
God.
right. That's how it works.
Their children and their children and their children and their children. I'm like, yo, for 1,000 generations, they said. 1,000 generations.
That's right.
That's insane. 1,000 generations? I'm 35 years old. I don't even have my first kid. So imagine if my son is like me and he also has a kid late. 1,000 generations is going to be in like 45,000 years.
Yeah. Evangelicals, we definitely have the music. Like that we beat the Catholics easily.
Do you know Maverick City Music?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay. Just while we're on the subject of this, can I just tell you one story?
No, I love it.
Okay, so I love church music. And 2 or 3 years ago, I did acid with my buddies on December 30th.
Yes.
December 30th. It was a great time, whatever. On December 31st, I'm tired.
Yes.
Because we were just up for like 13 hours on acid, whatever. It's a long trip. I don't know if have you ever done psychedelics?
No, I did mushrooms. That's how I ended up becoming a Christian to begin with.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. So New Year's Eve, I'm like, I'm not gonna go out. I'm just tired. But I ended up watching Elevation Church's like live performance.
Yes.
On YouTube, just because I like I like Elevation Church. I like the guy. I'm not big on like Jesus or anything. But man, Stephen Furtick, the way he gives a sermon, holy shit. And we can talk more about that in a second. But this was just music on the 31st, and they sang this song called Jireh. And this song, man, I know all the words to it, and I started crying.
Yeah,
like tears of joy about how much God loves me.
I know.
It's like that song. It starts off, "I've never been more loved than I am right now. Wasn't holding you up, so there's nothing I can do to let you down." Great song. Anyways, it's just about how much God loves you. Like, and man, what a
Elevation like cranks out the hits right now. They really know what they're doing.
So that one's a collabo with Maverick City. Check it out, Jireh.
Okay, I haven't.
You know what Jireh means?
Jehovah Jireh. It's like I don't know what I don't.
I think it pretty much means like the Lord will provide. Like everything you got everything you need.
Yeah, I have not. I haven't had my ear to the ground lately when it comes to the praise and worship music.
So you were in it for how long? 17 till what?
38.
38. So you've only just recently kind of left that.
Well, I mean, we still go on Sunday, but like I don't consider myself to be like evangelical anymore.
Were you playing? What'd you play?
Guitar.
Do you sing at all?
A little, not really.
Do you have a favorite song?
If I had to, I would say that my favorite song is called "Grace Alone" by Dustin Kensrue.
Okay.
He's the guy who is the singer for the band Thrice. And if you've heard of Thrice, they're like kind of like a post-hardcore band. Anyway, but he released like a praise and worship record.
Okay.
And that song's my favorite. If I had to pick one.
Remind me after, because I do want to check it out. Because I like. There's a new guy named Friday. Have you heard of this guy? He makes like R&B music, but he's like I think he came from the church world because he uses a lot of harmonies.
You would be shocked at the amount of contemporary artists that came from the church.
Yeah.
Like think about it's like one of the only places where somebody who's young can be like trained intentionally on an instrument to be like play in a band and be like tight. Like people who aren't in church who play music, like you'll never get that experience anywhere else. So I think you'll be shocked at the amount of people that started in church.
Yeah.
So I was going to say two things. One, my buddy Otis actually is the drummer for Elevation.
In Toronto?
No, in
Carolina.
In South Carolina. Yeah.
I want to go to. I would love to go to a service.
He started here. He's from here, but he started to play at the Toronto Elevation, and then they realized that this guy is like incredible, and so they started calling him to come and do it in South Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's there full time. And then two, because you didn't grow up in it, for me, it's more like I just wait for churches like that to have a scandal and then be destroyed.
Yeah, I've looked into like what they say about Elevation. Like, I also do you follow the page on Instagram, Preachers and Sneakers?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So it's like they're always like, oh, Stephen Furtick had these fucking $1,000 shoes on and like a really nice sweatshirt. Who gives a fuck, man? Like this guy, I'm not even like super religious, but he's made me feel motivated in life. He's made me feel uplifted. If I get rich, I'll give him money, and I don't care what he does with it. Like, I don't care. I've gone to Elevation Church. I put money in the collection plate. I don't give a fuck if they use it to help people or if they use it to buy sneakers. The guy fucking made a great sermon.
Yeah, okay, you're paying for the sermon. That's right. He should get the money.
This is funny. So this is how I found out about Elevation Church. So I had a couple of years where I was like really depressed, whatever. I came home after a night of drinking, and on TV it was Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen is just a all prosperity preacher, and to the point where now I'm kind of like grossed out by him. I don't really like him and the way he does this thing. But either way, that night when I came home, I was sad. I turned on the TV. I got a little uplifting message from Joel Osteen, and I was like, cool. Now my friend was making fun of me for that, and then he sends me like something on Instagram saying like Stephen Furtick just got signed by Joel Osteen's church, whatever it's called. What's it called?
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Just got signed for $25 million. And it was like a joke, like saying like as if they were like athletes, whatever.
Was it Babylon Bee?
I forget.
Okay.
But either way, so then I'm like, I never even heard of Stephen Furtick. So I was like, who is this guy? So I go to watch one of his sermons, and I end up being like, this guy's fucking sick. Fuck Joel Osteen, yo.
Yeah.
Joel Osteen is shit. Joel Osteen starts everything with a joke which he stole from somebody else, whatever. And then he does the same old thing like, yeah, you're going to get money and you're going to be happy and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Like once in a while, but like he does the same thing every weekend. Stephen Furtick, this guy breaks down the Bible in ways that I haven't seen before. Like black preachers look at him and say, this guy's the best communicator of our generation. What's his name? T.D. Jakes. Bigs up Stephen Furtick. So the first one that I watched by Stephen Furtick, look this up if anyone's interested. It's called Making Moves. Watch that sermon. I've sent it to friends that are atheists.
Yeah.
And they're like, fucking got some good word out of that though.
Yeah,
like you get just about making moves in life, and like sometimes like the steps are in different orders and blah, blah, blah. Anyways. Yeah. It's just a message that who cares if you believe in Jesus? You can still get something out of it. You know what I mean?
You know, and it's funny because a lot of the people I talk to so far on this podcast are people who had a religious background and left.
Yeah.
And the thing that they almost all say is how much they miss the community, right? About how that it's this place where you can go, where you're going to have people that you can connect with and who actually like care about your life, and where the community is centered around living out these principles, and where if, you know, somebody falls, there's like a whole community there to pick them up. And I've heard about this phenomena, and I've experienced it, where like atheists will go to church, they'll put their kid in the youth group, and they're like, we know it's a net positive, even if like supernaturally or metaphysically we don't believe in a God. Like the rest of it is there, but I think a lot of them haven't been burned either. Like it's hard to go back once you've been burned.
Yeah. Did you get burned?
Not not directly. I'm just kind of more. I felt called out to do comedy.
Yeah.
And then I think, how do I say it? Okay. So the thing that happened for me, so when I became a Christian, I like bought in like all of it. I was like, they're like, whatever the team says is what we believe. That's what I believe.
Right.
And I just took it on. And then I was listening to this podcast. It was called the Bad Christian Podcast. And they were talking about, so I went to Bible college and stuff like that, like studied theology. And they were talking, there was this guy who had this podcast called Rethinking Hell. And he basically said that like all of evangelicalism, I think Catholicism too, teaches eternal conscious torment as the hell view. Like you go to hell, you're tortured forever. Right. And this guy basically says that if you look at the totality of Bible verses that talk about the fate of people who don't believe, it's actually that of like people who are destroyed. Like that, you know, if you don't believe in Jesus, the afterlife is nothing. Okay. Like that's right. Like John 3:16, like God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that who shall believe in him shall not perish.
And Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass.
Like shall not perish. So it's like, how did we be tortured forever from perish? Right. And then I actually started looking into it. It's like, oh, we have this view of hell that isn't something that the Bible actually teaches. And it made me, and then I heard this Chris Date guy do a debate on hell against this guy named Al Mohler, who's like a huge figure in evangelicalism. And he's like a theologian pastor. And this Chris Date guy, who nobody ever heard of, like destroyed him, just like completely annihilated him in this debate. And I was just like, well, if the church is wrong about this thing, what else are they wrong about? And then it's like, it's just watching all these pastor after pastor after pastor go down for like embezzling money or, you know, having sex with people. And it's like, I feel like it's not that I don't believe in God, but it's like, I feel like I have this immense distrust in the church as an institution. And I don't know how to approach the Bible anymore, because the evangelical world is very literal. Like take the Bible as literally as possible whenever you can. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Like the Bible has a lot of talking animals, if you weren't aware.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And it's like, and
I think it's just morals. For me, moral of the story.
Exactly, right? What can I take out of this story right now and apply now? And I feel like that's kind of where I am with it. And like,
so there was a time in your life where you took it literal. This is what it means. This is what it is.
Absolutely.
Really?
I would have like debated you that the earth was 6,000 years old.
Even as a kid, I remember just being like, it's moral of the story.
Like, well, I think that's kind of what when I first became a Christian, first started believing God, that was kind of how I was. I kind of just like, oh, you know, like God guided evolution. That's fine with me, right? And then I meet Christians and start going to church, and they're like, no, evolution isn't true. And like, and then again, like I said, I just started to take on what the team believed for the most part, and like I just went with that and studied that and defended that, right? And then, but that whole thing with, you know, the hell view kind of created this wedge that like created this split that I couldn't reconcile.
Let me ask you, who do you relate to most in the Bible? Is there any character in the Bible that you feel you relate to?
Someone in the Bible.
Like if you say Jesus, you're a narcissist.
No.
But I'm not far off.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any one person who I'm like, oh, I really like the book of Hebrews.
Okay.
But I don't think that there's any person in the Bible who I'm like, oh, I'm like that person.
Fair.
Maybe Thomas. Maybe doubting Thomas.
That's you, eh?
Yeah, maybe I'm like I want to put my fingers in the wound.
Yeah.
Like maybe that. Yeah. Maybe that guy.
I like David.
Yeah.
Big fan of David, man. Just because he makes mistakes, he does his thing. But he's still God's favorite. You know what I mean? He literally like that story about what was it, Bethesda?
Yeah, Bathsheba. Yeah.
Fucking, he looks over in his neighbor's backyard, sees a naked woman. He's like, I want to fuck her. Let me send her husband away to go to battle.
Yeah.
Fucks her husband while she's away. Anyways, I'm just saying.
You like that one?
Relatable.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it seemed like David is kind of a cool guy, and I don't view myself as like a cool guy.
So many people see David and Goliath, and they think about that one. When they think David, they just think David and Goliath.
Yeah.
They don't think David also fucking fought a lion, fucked this guy's girl. You know what I mean? He was like the action hero.
Well,
of the Bible.
But they also like when people think of like David's slingshot, they think of Dennis the Menace, right? They've never seen an actual Middle Eastern slingshot. Have you seen one?
No.
It can like break rock.
Yeah.
Like they spin it so fast.
Is that what Israel's complaining about right now? These fucking high level Palestinian slingshots. Let's not talk about it.
Let's not.
I just couldn't help myself to make a joke. But the slingshots were a little bit better than Dennis the Menace, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, like yeah, they can kill you. They can
Yeah.
actually
So
kill you.
technically, David and Goliath is like a big guy coming up to a small guy, and the small guy just pulling out a gun, shooting him in the head, and being like,
pretty much.
"What up?
Yeah.
I just fucking murdered that big
Yeah.
guy." And they're like, "Yeah, you shot him with a gun. Like that's not that impressive."
Why, yeah, he's like, just why didn't you guys think of shooting him with a gun?
So David
God
was
told
actually
me.
just a fucking pussy.
Maybe Solomon. I think I identify with Solomon, right? Solomon's wisdom, like he sought out like wisdom,
Yeah.
and that I appreciate.
Nice.
If I had to go back,
Either way, we're both Old Testament guys. It sounds like
no, I'm definitely more in the New Testament guy.
both the guys you liked were old.
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, Thomas is New Testament.
Thomas, Solomon.
Solomon is Old
Solomon's old.
Testament, and I don't know. I think I like the New Testament because it is the bringing to fruition of everything from the Old Testament, the loosening of the rules, the coming of it's the sequel, it's the completion of the story.
Yeah, it
Right?
is, but like most
And you
things,
don't
the
like,
sequel's not as good as the
and I
first.
feel like you can't ever those feelings of feeling loved by God. I
Yeah.
feel like you don't really have that vocabulary until Jesus comes.
God is definitely more forgiving in the New Testament.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, Jesus is cool.
Well, okay, this is what I wanted to go back to that though. So I presume like did you do university?
I did 2 years. I didn't finish.
Okay, what'd you go for?
Just general social sciences. I was going to try
Okay.
and become a teacher, and then I went to Humber and did radio broadcasting.
Okay, did you finish at Humber though? So
Yeah, I finished. I got a
you
diploma.
The diploma. Yeah, there you go. I did. I just went to university to get the degree. I just got a history degree because I just wanted to get the degree. Back then, it was you get a degree, you get a job. That's
what
it.
they said,
I
yeah.
didn't really have aspirations at the time.
Yeah.
So when did you? And then you did radio, and then I know that you DJ'd and you were into dance hall. So
Yeah, like I grew up with a lot of Jamaican friends,
Yeah.
and like I grew up pretty much with black music. I would say,
Yes.
like in general, not just dancehall music, but I don't know why. Because you heard me tell one dancehall joke, and you're like, this guy loves
I think.
dancehall.
Oh no, I thought you DJ dance hall. So
No, I have one dancehall mix.
okay,
on
so,
SoundCloud or
so you
something.
like black music, not just dance hall.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
I like all music now. Once I did psychedelics, I was like, rock and roll is sick. But I would say from like elementary school to the end of high school, I was all dance hall, rap, R&B. Yeah.
Okay, and then so when did you become like a music guy?
Like more than just that.
Well, I
Or just
mean,
a
I feel like
music-
to
Oh,
DJ or get into radio, you got to have like a real love for music.
Yeah.
Like when did like
That's interesting.
yeah, well, for me it was like my cousin got a bass and I like saw the bass and I don't know what it was about the bass and I had to have one.
Huh.
And then I got into the Smashing Pumpkins album Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness was like the album that made me want to play guitar. It made me want to like made me a music guy. So I was just wondering like what did that for you?
So I can't pinpoint it. I feel like I've always loved music, but I'll say like some of my influences growing up, like, so my best friend I grew up with since I was 3 years old, a Jamaican family across the street, and his dad had a huge record collection.
Okay.
Reggae and R&B and soul a lot, and he would just be bumping music all the time, and I'd be over at his house like most days of the week.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that is what got me like the initial seeds of like, I think something just came up on your computer. I don't know if that.
It's just an accessibility.
I get so paranoid about recording stuff.
Oh, dude. I mean, I did a full podcast with somebody and I didn't
record?
get the audio.
Is this one recording?
Yeah.
For sure.
We're on.
I also like.
I tested.
Sorry to sidetrack, but like, you have a mirror behind this, which it's fine because you can actually see it there. But I also like to do that. I put a mirror behind my camera because I want to see if it stops. But yours, I'm looking at the back and it doesn't even look like the phone's on.
But there you can see it.
I know
on
it's
the-
there,
yeah.
but it's there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this.
Well, I mean, iPhone introduced this. I had an app. We're totally off the rails now,
Sorry,
but it's
sorry,
fine.
that's my fault.
No. But I originally Apple only just recently did some sort of like edit that allows you to use your phone as a webcam. Up until like I think a year or so ago, you had to get like a third party app to do that for you. So now you can just connect your phone and make it your camera.
Perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty bare bones setup, but
And it
for-
has to
for
be with
now-
a Mac though.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't have a Mac, but I like that idea. You're giving me a lot of things to think about. To improve
Everybody,
my-
yeah, everybody comes in and just asks me questions about my setup.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, shout out to Mr. Roberts and all his record collection. Planting the initial seeds of my love for music. I remember when I was in high school playing football, I'd be singing on the field all the time, mostly 90s R&B.
Yeah.
Like always singing. And like while I'm playing, I played cornerback, so I'm guarding the receiver. If people don't know football, quarterback throws the ball to the receiver. I'm the guy that tries to stop the guy from catching it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd be lining up and I'd be like just singing him like some Usher song like, let me take it to a place nice and quiet. And people would be like, if there's people on the sidelines that could hear me sing, like, they're like, what the fuck is this guy singing love songs to this guy? But like, yeah, I don't know. I've always loved music. I'm just like, I'm always singing songs. If you said something that reminds me of a song, I'll start singing it. Like, you know what I mean? To a point where some people like it, some people find it annoying, but like, I'm a very musical guy.
See that, and that was the thing that was like, I was kind of the opposite, where I would play music with people, but all I was thinking is like, where can I make jokes? Like, how can I make jokes about like every situation? Like I said, I wanted to be a comic when I was like 8.
Wow.
And did like theater, and like I got into university for theater first, and then I went to Bible college instead.
Damn.
So
what made you decide to finally start doing comedy? Like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back?
I was super depressed. I had already been depressed going into the pandemic. Like I had already been depressed for a year, like when the pandemic started, and I like almost got fired from my job. And then I watched that clip, or I watched the Jim and Andy documentary on Netflix, the Jim Carrey one. Okay, I don't know if you've seen it.
About him being
it's okay. Like
what's his name?
It's Jim and Andy Kaufman.
And about him playing Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, about him playing Andy Kaufman. And but it's really like almost a biography about Jim Carrey and Andy Kaufman. But he's got this part in the documentary where Jim Carrey's talking about his dad, that his dad was a really funny guy, great musician, but was scared to make the jump to the US and really try it for real. And, you know, became an accountant, took the safe route, and then got laid off at 55. And like their family struggled financially for years. And like and then he has this line where he said, like, I learned that you can fail at what you don't love. So you might as well do what you love.
Love that.
And that just like, it just hit me. Like people have been telling me my whole life that I should be doing stand up, but I was always afraid of doing it.
And now that you're doing it, people just keep telling you to stop.
No, just you.
No.
But yeah, so it was like I just realized like it's I'm 38 at that point. I was like, it's now or never. It's now or never. So I started writing jokes the next day.
Yeah, and you work hard, and you hustle hard, and I respect it. No, it's good, man. Same thing with me. I started when I was coming from a depressed place too.
Yeah,
it's a good time to turn that corner. Like I made a New Year's resolution in like 2012 or something, 2011, to try stand-up comedy. Yeah, like I had been thinking about it for a while. I didn't start doing it until 2017. Like I had forgot about it for a couple of years, and it wasn't really like making any effort to even do it. But that first year, like when I made that New Year's resolution, whatever, 2011, I had jokes written down.
Okay,
and I look back at them and they're all shit. But anyways,
yeah.
2017 comes around. I was very depressed. I was kind of like, I had a bad gambling problem. I was like fucking up my life, like betting money with bookies, betting money I didn't have.
Yeah,
I still gamble to this day. Like
every Sunday you do your football.
But I'm like totally like now I'm like it's very reasonable. I have my limits. I play within it. I don't fuck with the bookies anymore. Before, I was literally betting money I did not have, and then I'm like in a scary situation. So it's very.
Then a guy who looks like Sam Tetsos comes and breaks your thumbs.
It was like that. So one day after a week where I lost again, and it had been years since I got down on my knees to pray. I got down on my knees and I asked God for help. I'm like, God, I need a new direction in life. I need a new path in life. Like I need help. And I the next day I felt already like something had been lifted off me in terms of like I didn't feel like every morning that in that period of my life, I was looking up what games were on, what who's betting on this, who's betting on that, like researching every morning. That's what I'm doing the first thing I woke up back then. So I'm like, I already felt that lifted. Like I'm like, oh wow, I don't feel like the obsessiveness to do that. So I was already like, man, God fucking did something for me there. So for a day or two, I was actually thinking, I'm like, maybe I should be a preacher. Maybe.
Okay,
That's how much I felt touched by God.
And it's weird how that happens, though, right? Because like when it happened for me, I have this God experience, and then I start going to church. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to be with, like, I want to I want other people to feel how I feel now. The way that you're sending links to people with sermons and stuff, you just like want to share it.
Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah. And some people are annoyed by it, but whatever. Anyways, so a day or two, I'm like, maybe I should be a preacher. But I also was like, but I'm not super sold on Jesus. So what am I supposed to preach about? Just that God is real. That if you ask God for help, He'll help you. I'm like, what am I supposed to start a whole new religion? Like, that's a little crazy.
Yeah.
So then a day or two goes by, and I run into a friend. I was DJing for some hip hop buddy. These guys stay out late. They're still doing music. Let's check them out. DJing for them at the Rose Theater.
Okay.
In Brampton. And one of our other friends that I see like once or twice a year that just came to support, he's like, man, there's a new comedy spot in Brampton. You should check it out. Just saying, go watch.
Yeah.
I go and I do it my first time I go there, and I smash the first time I go.
Nice.
And I'm like, this is it. This is the new path. I'm like,
yeah.
And I also feel like, okay, if I want to tell people God's real, starting a new religion is like one whole way to do it, and probably get some scandal about me fucking girls and and taking money, or I just be the piece of shit comedian that I am, and then people find out, oh, he has a good relationship with God. That guy that's up there talking about pussy and drinking and you know, some offensive material, and even he has a good relationship with God. Maybe I can have a good relationship with God. So technically, I'm still spreading the good word without actually becoming a preacher.
What is it about Jesus that doesn't sell you?
I just think, like anything in the Bible, like anything in Hindu scriptures, like anything in the Torah, the Quran, I think they all have the same messages. They all have morals of the stories. They use different vessels to tell the stories. And I'm not saying anyone's God is real or anyone's God is fake. I'm just saying that when I look at any of these books, I get the moral of the story. I don't take it for like, this person is the son of God, or this, you know what I mean? I get what Jesus taught, a lot of good things. I think Jesus, you can get a lot of good lessons, and I'll leave it at that. Like, I don't want to convince anyone that it's real or fake, because I'm not here for that. I'm just like, I have a good relationship with God, and my ex-girlfriend was Hindu. She would tell me stories from like their scriptures, and she even like came with me to Elevation Church once or twice. Like, she liked that stuff too. And
Hindus are cool because they kind of like, I feel like they can kind of do what they want, like spiritually. Like,
well, in their teachings, it's like, if you go to a mosque, if you go to a church, you worship as they worship. Like still give it up to God in their way, because like that's like the respectful thing to do. That's the giving love to God same way. Like, so there'd be times where we would go hear a story in the church, and then she'd be like, you know, Hindus have one that's just like that. Like, and then she'd tell me, and I'm like, so we're all saying the same thing. We're all. The moral of the story at the end of the day is give thanks to God. You know what I mean? Be grateful for what you have in life, and be a decent person. Like, that's pretty much like. If you,
what do you think of the? Because I see what you're saying. Because I think like the book of Romans says, we all have the law written on our heart. Like, everybody has a conscience. Everybody knows, like, for the most part, right and wrong. But what do you make, and this is something that I find compelling, is the fact that like every other religion, almost exclusively, like when you talk about Jesus, they're like, yeah, he's cool. Like, he's somebody that you should listen to. Like, every other religion says that. But then Jesus says, don't listen to anybody else, only listen to me.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, the guy that everybody's saying you should listen to says, don't listen to anyone else but me. That's the thing that gives me pause.
Yeah, I hear you. That's just a debate that I don't like. Like, I don't have a strong enough opinion on. Like, because I'm not like, when people find out I believe in God and they're atheists, like, sometimes they'll try and convince me that God's not real, and I'm like, I'm not trying to convince you that God is real. So like, you're not, and I'm like, I'm just telling you, I've had enough experiences in my life where I'm like, God, I've asked God for help, and I've coincidentally got the help. I've asked God for an answer, and I've coincidentally got the answer. If you want to call it a coincidence, call it a coincidence. All I'm saying is God's been hooking me up. I'm gonna believe. I'm gonna respect. I'm gonna give thanks. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I feel like that's the kind of where I'm living it now. It's like, I'm very happy to talk about believing in God and being, I'm not interested in like ramming it down anybody's throat. I'm not interested in debating anybody about it. But I feel like the world has changed. I feel like people are way more open to like talking about God now than they were before. I feel like there was a time like where the atheists were real angry, and I feel like they're not so angry anymore.
I don't know.
No, you.
I don't know. I find from what I've seen in my life and my friends or whatever, people that are atheists are, I feel, more passionate about making sure that their kids don't believe in God than my parents were about making me believe in God.
Yeah, and you know how they'll rebel? By
God.
believing in God.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so funny, yeah.
Well, but that's what I feel like we're kind of into now. I think we went through this. I think Gen X was really, really atheist. I think the generation just before us was like really against the establishment because they were the ones raised by the silent generation and the early boomers, and so they really rebelled against that. And we had it a little bit less as millennials. And so now the Gen X kids are the alphas, right? They're like alphas in the A generation after Z, and they're way more open. And Gen Z too. When you were saying that, like, I really resonated with what you just said. Is that God? Tell me more about how you mean like God works in coincidences.
Like when I say, the only reason I say coincidence is because, like, okay, so that word's on my mind right now because my 10-year-old nephew's telling me now that God's not real because his parents are atheists.
Yes.
And they tell him. So he says God's not real. I'm like, God's done a lot for me in my life. So like, I've just have reasons that it's made me believe. And then he's like, those are all coincidences. So I'm like, okay, if you want to call them coincidence, call them coincidence. But these coincidences are coincidentally happening every time I pray to God and ask. Like, I'm getting coincidences.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's the way that the life you lead, like the events, like talk to you specifically about where you are.
So I asked God for a new path in life. A couple days later, I find a new path in life. Coincidence. All right. Another small one. This is like funny to me. So when I was in my first year of comedy, I go to an open mic for the first time in Toronto at the Corner Comedy Club. There used to be, you used to have to line up outside the club to sign up. And I'm in line, and there's a couple other comedians. Like, we're like, you know, just getting to know each other, following each other on Instagram. And somebody follows me on Instagram, and they notice that my thing says, like, my bio says, ask God for help.
I saw that. I remember seeing that.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you believe in God? What a fucking loser. You know what I mean? Anyways, I see my car parked like 100 meters away, and there's a guy about to give it a ticket. And I'm like, fuck, I'm getting a ticket. I run over there, talk to him, blah, blah, blah. Come back to the line. They said, do you get a ticket? I'm like, nah, God is good. Coincidentally, God hooked it up.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Anyways, that's just little stupid shit. But there's just been time, like, I don't have a list of like every prayer I've ever made that I've got answers to, but I am saying that it's happened enough times where I've asked God for some clarity. I've asked God for a sign. I've asked whatever, like, and I've got results.
Yeah.
So it could all be coincidences, or it could be God loves me and fuck you guys.
Well, I don't know. I agree with that in the sense of I feel like God speaks in the synchronicity of life rather than in like giant miracles. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm so grateful that I got this path in life, that I found comedy, because the years before this, whether I was gambling or not, I was working in a warehouse and I was like, man, life's gonna be so long. It's not like my life was miserable. And I'm like, I had nothing to look forward to. What I say, I had no purpose, I had no passion, I had no hope. Comedy gave me all three of those.
Yeah.
So coincidence or not, I asked God for a new path in life. I got one, and I've never wanted to kill myself since.
Yeah.
I never would have killed myself before, but I thought about it.
Yeah.
I thought about driving off the road, whatever. Like I was like, life's gonna be so long. I was sad. What, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since starting comedy, I've never thought about killing myself, which is great because I'm just like, I have a purpose, I have a passion, I have a hope. I've had sad days.
Yes.
I've got sad. Like I was just telling the story earlier about me when I was coming home. Like I got sad that day, but at the same time, I know I have things to look forward to. I know I have a dream to chase, and I know I have, like, I'm so passionate about doing comedy. Like,
yeah,
I'm obsessed with it. Like I did trade in one addiction for another. When I did stop gambling for a couple years, from 2017 to 2020, I didn't gamble, and then when the pandemic happened, I wasn't doing comedy as much, and I fucking needed a little something to get me excited.
You're not the first person who describes comedy as an addiction.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very much so. Like my wife is complaining because it's like, I'll be hanging out with the family, but she's just like, you're not here because I'm in my head thinking about comedy.
Yeah, you're writing jokes about what your son just said.
Yeah, right.
You have sons or daughters?
Two daughters.
Two?
Yeah.
So you're a real man. That's what they say.
I've heard it called the fighter's curse. That like fighters all have daughters. I don't know why that is.
What, are you a fighter?
No. I mean, like I said, I used to
When's
get.
the last time you got in a fight?
I was 14. I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's too long, man. We got to go get in a fight.
No, I mean, who wants to? The thing is, though, it's like whenever people threaten to fight, I'm like, what are you, 10? Like, I feel like people who fight as adults are fucking idiots. Like, what are you doing?
I've gotten an adult fight, but
I'm
not
sure, but you want to go to would you want to go to jail? You like?
No, I'm not a guy that starts it either. I'm just a guy that finishes it.
Well, that's right. That was my dad. My dad always said, I don't want to hear that you started fights, but I definitely want to hear that you finished them. And and my dad was like, he always, I don't know, one of the lessons I learned very, very early was like, there was this kid at the playground, like picking on me. I was like 4, 5, 6, something like early like that. And my dad just like looked at me and he went like this. I'm like, oh yeah, I can defend myself. And I punched this kid and he never bugged me again. And I felt so proud.
Nice.
But yeah, I always knew to like, most kids wouldn't do the things that I would do to win. Like I was the first kid who would punch you in the face.
I was the first kid that stabbed another kid.
No, like not that far, but like I
David
would.
and Goliath, baby.
But yeah, I would like.
Slingshot him in the head.
I would do what it took to win, and I would never fight groups.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing in high school. People would be like, "You want to fight?" It was like you and like 4 of the guy's friends, and you're like, "Well, that's not a fair fight. Like if this is how it's going to be, I'm walking away, and you're the pussy because you're the one who can't fight without backup."
Hey. Nice. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean I haven't fought in a while, but like I always like I will smash a face into like I will do what it takes to win. It's this is a street fight. This isn't like this isn't the Kumite.
Yeah. Well, even that you could throw dust in the guy's eyes.
I know, right? He should have been disqualified. Kung Lee.
That's bullshit.
I watched Bloodsport like every day for like 2 years when I was like 11.
It was a classic. Man.
Oh man, and have you tried to rewatch it recently?
Not recently, maybe about 5, 6 years ago.
It's horrendous. I tried to rewatch it as an adult.
Are you a Rocky guy? Do you like Rocky?
I could take or leave it. I mean, the first few are pretty good.
Rocky, I usually watch like all of them every holiday season. There's some I don't know why. I think because when I was a kid, when you go home for the Christmas holidays, I think Boxing Week it used to always be on.
Yeah.
And so it just reminds me of like it's like a little nostalgia. Now my whole
it
life,
makes you feel like it's the holidays.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. I always thought Rocky 4 was the best one when he fights Drago.
That's a great one.
It's a great one. But after rewatching all 5, and actually like with a critical mind thinking like which one's the best one, I think Rocky 3 is the best Rocky. Mr. T, he it's a good little back and forth with him. Rocky's he's being a rich fucking guy that's not doesn't have the fire anymore.
Yeah.
And then who has to train him to get that fire back? Apollo Creed. So now he links back up with that guy. Mickey dies.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. Came out
40
years
later.
And then that is also the movie where Eye of the Tiger came from. And it's also the one where he fights Hulk Hogan. So there's a lot of...
Wasn't Eye of the Tiger in the first one?
Nope.
No?
First one's just... That's
it.
That's in all of them.
Yes.
Eye of the Tiger came in Rocky 3 because he needs to get it back. He needs the Eye of the Tiger because he had it in the first 2.
I mean, like
he didn't have it in the third one.
I think Rocky 1 will always have the edge to me, the first one, just because it was the first one.
Yeah.
But I like the second one too. I don't know. I'm not the biggest like Rocky fan, but I think the fifth one I don't like.
Rocky 5 is great too.
Yeah,
but people don't like it. But Tommy Gunn, that story there is crazy. And Rocky's fight with Rocky doesn't even fight in the ring in that one.
No,
Rocky fights in a street fight.
I remember that.
And
it's a pretty brutal fight.
Rocky can do like karate, which makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
That fight makes me laugh. But like it's so bad. Like I can understand why people hate that movie because it's so cheesy compared to the other ones.
But there's nothing like a good fight scene.
Tommy Gunn, man, Tommy Gunn had some serious problems in real life too.
Did he?
Oh yeah.
Tell me.
Well, he was a real boxer, and then he ended up having a real heroin problem or something like one of those ones.
Yeah.
There was a ESPN 30 for 30. Did you ever watch 30 for 30s?
No.
Okay, well,
I'm not a big,
not
the
a
only
big sports guy, but
the only sports that I would really, there was a time where I was really into the UFC. I was in like peak UFC, like when George St. Pierre was still fighting, and like Rampage was fighting, and Forrest Griffin, like the kind of what I feel was like the heyday.
Right.
I don't know who anyone is anymore.
Yeah, UFC I only watch if there's like a big fight on, but I used to. Well,
Like I didn't even know that John Jones was back.
He hasn't been back for. I think he has a fight coming up though, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
but he can't. Like I missed his heavyweight like debut. I didn't
Mm.
even see that.
I just 1 second on the 30 for 30s because there's
Yes.
one that I want to recommend to you. Whether you like sports or not, you like religion, you like God. There's one called The Gospel According to Mac. And
Okay.
it's about this college football coach who basically he took over a ship program, and the way he made it better was he went to all these he went to some rough neighborhoods
Yeah.
where there's some great athletes, and he talked to their parents about how like I'm good with God. You know what I mean? Me and God are like this. So your son is going to be well taken care of. He's going to have a good relationship with God, and we're going to play football.
Yeah.
And we're going to fucking and he ends up getting like an unreal like recruiting class just by like talking to moms and dads about God. And
Yeah.
and they won a championship. It was pretty fucking
Oh, that's so
pretty cool.
I'll check that out. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm interested in religion. I think it's more that I'm fascinated by where do we come from? The fact that we're like in this reality and that we're the only beings that can actually kind of perceive it.
Yeah.
Right. That we know of. That's like, I'm also interested in like UFOs and aliens because I kind of want to know if they know more about it than we do.
Yeah.
Right. Like I want to know. It's like, there's the near death experiences and stuff like that. Like I want to know what's next. I feel like there's the big thing that sticks out to me is that like there's everything about this world is like it's not quite right. And like I don't know.
What do you think's wrong with the world?
Well, I think humans are inherently bad.
That's heavy.
I do. I think we try to get away with like whatever we can. I think we can be. It's why you need to condition children to be good, right? If you watch two children play in a sandbox, like
do you have one kid that's worse than the other? Do you have one kid that's like a bad kid?
No, I wouldn't. No, neither of them are bad. I think that my
are they gonna watch this episode?
Maybe
Santa's coming, guys.
If they watch this, it'll be years from now. But my younger one is the more impulsive one. How's that? She's the one, but she's also like the funniest. Yeah. So funny. Okay. But no, neither of them are. They're both good kids. Like they don't get into trouble.
They don't get in trouble. Okay.
No,
I was kind of.
I think that's like
growing up.
Me too. What'd you do?
Just like get in fights or like got in trouble for like not going to school. Like I skipped school or whatever. This is so stupid. One day, me and two of my boys, we all called the office all in a row being like, James has a dentist appointment, whatever. And then like, okay, obviously all three of you are lying.
Yes.
So my mom ends up like they call our parents. My mom ends up driving around like the neighborhood trying to find me. And she sees me coming out of this guy's house. She picks me up, brings me back to school. So yeah, just little things like that. My sister was like such a good kid and like, she's only 3 years older, but it was like having three parents. Cause when I was getting in trouble at like the dinner table, it'd be like mom, dad, and sister all being like, you're bad.
Yeah, I was constantly lectured in high school. Like I could do well in school, but like I didn't care about school. Like I got, B's and C's without really trying.
Okay.
But then, I stole from Sears, which is a problem when your dad works for Sears. Yeah. And yeah, like I was a bad teenager. I had bad years, but then my magic mushroom experience turned me out of that. Huh. Yeah.
What was the experience? Like what happened that made you?
So I was 17 and then like I said, I was a bad kid. I didn't care about anyone, but I think it was more, I think my parents' divorce really taught me that like, I got to take care of me.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah. I have a brother who's 2.5 years younger and then both my parents got remarried. So I have like half siblings on both sides, but just one full blood brother. But at the time we were separated. I lived with my dad and my brother lived with my mom.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was like.
Why did they decide to do that?
I can't talk about it while it's recording. I could tell you after.
Okay,
I could tell you after. But yeah,
Patreon baby.
We
Patreon.
Pay you.
Find out why he didn't live with his brother.
Yeah, I basically missed him going through puberty. I missed like that part of it. Like which
is the best part.
Yeah, I know. I missed the. Well, no, it's just the formative times in your lives. But you didn't have you had a sister, so.
A sister.
But I was
having a brother for my whole life.
I went to my stepmom has family in London, and so whenever we would go to see her family, she had nephews who were my age, and so I would always hang out with them. And this one weekend, we went to my cousin's friend's house, who was like the son of like wealthy doctors, and of course he was a drug dealer too.
Wow.
And so I did 10 grams,
Oh,
and
wow.
then and up until that point, like I would have said I was an atheist. Like I didn't think that there was a God, and being atheist was cool. So I kind of just that was where I went, and I did all these mushrooms, and I just had this like this experience of like having the mirror held up to like how I was living, that like how I behave like actually impacts people, other people, that like it hurts people when you act badly and when you do these things. But at the same, it was like I felt like rock bottom. Like it's like I truly saw myself and like where I was heading for the first time, but also like felt like loved from the outside, like loved, like God loved me and knew all the parts about me that were messed up, but still like loved me. And like, and that experience has changed. Like it flicked a switch deep down. It's like, there is a God. It wasn't specifically a Jesus experience, but it was like, there's definitely a God. And I remember I told my friends about it after, like the week after, and they're like, do you believe in God now? And I like lied and I said no. And I was like, I knew I was lying. I knew that wasn't true. I knew I did.
That's so funny.
And
you have to lie about believing in God.
Well, I hung out with the goth kids.
No, I don't believe that stuff.
Yeah. So, but it just changed everything about me. And then I got a job at a shoe store, and like one of the guys who worked at the shoe store with me like went to the Bible college, and like he was a youth leader at the church. And so like
you guys washed each other's feet?
No. Although I have had that happen. It's awful. And then I went to the youth group, and like when I went to the youth group for the first time, I met like all the guys that would end up being my wedding party, like on the like day one. Like all my closest friends I met the first time I went to church.
This is in Toronto?
Yeah, it's like Bayview and Steeles.
So are you still going to like an evangelist church now?
Yeah.
And how's your preacher? He gives a good sermon?
I've heard them all.
That's whack. Yeah, you got. I wish Stephen Furtick did it live in Toronto. That'd be sick. I mean, he did come once, but like I've gone to theirs.
Yeah.
And
it's the video.
It's a video.
Yeah.
So the band, there's a live band and smoke machines and lasers, all the bells and whistles you could ask for.
Yeah.
The music side, but then when the sermon starts, it's just on a screen, which is like, I mean, I could watch that at home.
Yeah, it's just it's more just like there aren't a lot of sermons that I haven't heard. To be honest, like I feel like I've pretty much heard them all. And the other thing is, I feel like there's a disconnect with how like the church does it. The disconnect with how Jesus taught it, if that makes sense, in the sense of like we're saved by grace. You can't earn it, right? Like God loves you no matter what.
Right.
Like you should be trying to improve yourself. But like I'll never be able to read the Bible enough. I'll never be able to pray enough, give enough money away. Like I will never actually be enough. Right? And so it's almost like you stare into the abyss of like how not enough you are, and that's when you realize like, oh, that's what Jesus is actually there for.
Yeah.
That's what he's like making up for. And then but then I feel like the church runs on shame. Like runs on like you're not doing enough. You should be doing this. You could be doing this. Blah blah blah. And it's like I don't know. I don't think I know I'm not enough, but I don't think I need to like I don't think like Jesus said, like my yoke is easy and my burden is light, and I feel like the church does the opposite. Makes you feel like you're not enough, and you constantly need to be like working it.
Huh. I mean, maybe that's your church, but
well, I think it's evangelicalism in general.
I mean, all I'm saying is I didn't get that message from
Furtick.
From Furtick. He's fucking great, but
well, I mean, he better not, because he better not mess up, because that whole.
Well, people have already put helicopter over his house. He's got a massive house. Like people get mad about that.
I watched the news clips of it. I mean, that's the thing though, is he like that's what concerns me about a guy like him, is that like all the deacons for Elevation, I think is according to that news story, was like the elders of that church, like the people that hold him accountable don't even live in the same state.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a way that church is supposed to be governed to ensure accountability.
Right.
And then but like the church also realizes that the guy at the center of it all is the reason why they're making money.
Yeah.
And so he gets to do whatever he wants. And when a guy gets to do whatever he wants, that's when problems happen. And in the evangelical church, it just happens over and over
See,
and over.
If if it turns out he was embezzling money, I wouldn't care. If it turns out he's fucking women, I wouldn't care. Even though I love his wife, Holly Furtick's a nice lady and everything. You should see her when she gives a sermon on ladies' nights. I've listened to one. It's just straight. She's a stand-up comic.
Yeah,
she gets so much laughs. Like I'm not saying like she's got funny stuff. Now, the one thing that does gross me out about Furtick or any evangelical is when it's in the giving season, when they're really trying to push for those donations, and they're basically like, however much you have, you think you can give that, give more. Don't worry, God will hook it up on the back end. I like that part makes me uncomfortable because I'm like, there's some people that are not getting it back on the back end.
No, it's they like the Prayer Palace had that whole thing. You know, the Prayer Palace. It's that church. It's like Keel and Finch, I think. Okay. It's a big circle building.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and it's like the pastor, like it's a predominantly black church run by white pastors who all have freaking luxury cars, right? And it's like you're, that is not a great neighborhood, and it's like you're using God to exploit people who are more in need, and I don't know. Well, and that's like the health and wealth. That stuff is like a totally different.
Let me ask you one thing about the whole shame thing, because like that happens in your church or whatever, or some people's church. Some of my friends, African guys, when they go to African churches, they tell me stories about like the shame is crazy. They're like, if a girl gets pregnant, they will bring her to the front and be like Sister Nancy, she's made a mistake, and the whole church needs to like be there for her. But it's like, what a sad thing for like if it's like a 17, 18-year-old girl that got pregnant and like she's just getting shamed in front of the whole church and like to like be there for her, but like everyone's like gossiping about her and like putting her out front and center. Like, do they do that kind of stuff at your church?
Oh
too?
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know the full details about it, but the Bible college that I went to, they would have like rotating teams of people who led worship. And the year before I got there, the guy who was leading worship there, I think got his girlfriend pregnant, something like that, and then had to like confess it to everybody publicly, and then was not allowed to do it anymore. And it's like you come down so hard on people when they mess up that you're incentivizing deception.
Yeah.
Right? You incentivize deception, where it's like every single guy in the church is struggling with pornography, but nobody has the guts to talk about it because they know if they do, they're going to be called in front of a whole bunch of people. They'll be stripped of any leadership that they have. Like you will be actually punished.
Yeah.
In one way or another for screwing up. And so it's the same reason why kids who have like overbearing or over disciplinary parents lie. It's because lying is better than the alternative. So when you make lying the better alternative than the truth, then you've got a problem.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what the church does. Yeah. That's kind of the most succinctly I've ever put it.
That's a great point. And I mean, it's been going on for years, but I think our generation, like we're around the same age, whatever, within 5 years or something, a lot of people did get turned away from God because of religion, because of the way they grew up in something like that.
Yeah.
Or whatever, like the whole shame thing or not being able to be honest. Like, religion is making me feel like a bad person. Like, that has made people go farther away from God. Now, I don't know, maybe I have like a weird conscience or something, but I never felt like God didn't like me for my mistakes. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm lucky.
I feel, but that's how I feel it. He really is.
Yeah.
Like in the sense of, Jesus was always really gracious to people who were bad, or who the world at large thought were bad. Right. His whole big thing was like, they're not any worse than you. The problem is you think you're great. Right. The religious leaders thought they were great. And his whole thing was like, you're not. Right. Like his whole thing was like, if you've committed adultery in your mind, you might as well have done it for real. Right. And he's just like, you think that just because you didn't actually cheat on your wife, you constantly fantasizing about your neighbor's wife makes you okay, but it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
You're coveting that neighbor's wife.
Yeah. Right. So that's where, you can, and that's what I mean though. It's like we can always be better, but I think that, Jesus will take anybody as you are now. And I don't, I don't know how much.
Do you get the body of Christ in your church?
Communion?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't do it the way, like evangelicals don't think of it the same way.
Like, do you put your hand out and you put in?
No, we we don't do communion every Sunday. A lot of churches don't. and they'll do it like monthly or biweekly or something like that. And then we actually have like it's like a pack. It's got like the juice at the bottom and then like a little cracker on the top, and you like do it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need some guy. That was the whole thing about the Protestants, right? We don't need these priests. We don't need any middlemen.
Yeah.
You know, between us and God.
Huh.
That's kind of where the Protestants like get in there.
Yeah. Well, I grew up. You put your hands out like this. You could put your hands out like in front of you and put it in the hand. They put it in your hand and you put it in your mouth. Or the real freaks in the church, they cross their arms over their chest and they just stick their tongue out.
Oh,
and the priest just sticks it on their tongue.
Oh, it's so
I'm like,
people
you
getting
guys are fucking perverts.
Oh my
man.
God, the people who get it, that make the priest who puts it on their tongue directly. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of crazy stuff in like church. There's also value in it, but it's more, I don't know.
I think if you have a good preacher or priest, whatever, like whoever's giving the sermons, if you have a good one of those and a good band, it's worth going to church.
The band is key.
You need good music. When I was a kid, the church I went to, St. Anthony's, wasn't great for music, but there was one song that I'll always remember. I don't remember the name of it, but I just remember this part where because of the I don't know if they always sing the song like this, but at this church they did. You know the one that goes, "Speak but the word, speak but the word, speak but the word."
I don't know that one.
My soul shall be healed. Anyways, the thing I always loved in that song when I was a kid was the choir would go, "Speak but the word," and then one guy who just had a sick voice in the background would go, "Speak but the word, speak but," and I'm like, and I remember the one Sunday that he wasn't there, the song was lacking, without you having that one deep voice in the background to be like, it just sounds like a guy not even on mic, like being like far away going, "Speak but the word, speak."
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
There are people at my church who like don't even know my name. They're like, "We miss you on guitar."
Yeah.
So,
Damn.
but I sold them pretty much all of them. Like one left.
You sold them all?
Yeah, I had like.
Oh, you sold all your guitars?
Yeah, I had like 10.
You were good, eh?
You know what? I was decent. I think the thing that happened was we had our church brought up a guy from the US to be our worship pastor, and he was like signed to Sony Music. He was on The Voice, like he was a legit touring musician.
Wow.
And watching him made me be like, my whole life I thought like I want to make an album, like I'm a music guy, this is my thing. And then I met this guy, I'm like, oh, that's what somebody who's really into music looks like. And it made me realize like, oh, I don't even love this enough to practice. Like I wasn't as good as I wanted to be, and I didn't practice as hard as I could, but I think I did it in church because it was easy.
Yeah.
Right? It was like you go to practice the songs, you're learning other people's songs, you didn't have to write anything for yourself. And so I don't know, being around that made me realize that like maybe I'm not into music.
You think you're better at comedy than you are at music?
100%.
Really? Eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't do any music breakdowns?
No.
I love the comedy breakdowns. I don't know if I maybe found them more funny than you meant them to be, but I want you to bring it back personally.
Yeah.
I was a fan. If anyone's seen his comedy breakdowns, there used to be a series that you'd go watch.
I did a few.
Dave
I mean,
Chappelle
it was
or Bill Burr, and you'd be like, "This is why that was funny," and it was ridiculous to me sometimes. But I still wanted you to break me down.
Break down one of your bits. Well, I mean, it's more just like.
You want me to give you a quick one about religion? A quick one-liner?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Have you ever been getting the body of Christ and you're like, I hope that wasn't his dick? Break that down for me, Jay.
That is a wordplay joke, right? And also a misdirection.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go. That's why it was funny.
And it has surprise, and it's mildly inappropriate, which
people like.
Yeah,
that's what they come to see me for. A little surprise and a little inappropriate. Follow me at James. Come on now.
I think this has been one of my favorite podcasts so far. It's been just, yeah.
I told you I was a good guest.
Yeah, you are a great guest. What do you want to do with comedy?
I want to
what's your goal?
My goal is to see. Okay, this is like just in my head now. So I would normally just say to make a living off it, right? But I heard Andrew Schultz say in something like, if you say you're going to make a living off it, that's all you're ever going to do. You have to set your sights higher. Mm-hmm. But what are my sights? I guess like I want to have at least 100,000 people that fuck with me that will pay to see my shows, like where I can travel around and do like I want to do more than just make a living. I do want to be able to travel with it. I want to be able to go to any great comedy club, walk in, and then be, yo, you're here tonight? Fucking, do you want to do a little spot? No, guys. I just came to say hi.
Yeah.
No, come on, go on stage. All right, I'll go on stage. I want that.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want to fucking be able to sell tickets. Like, that's pretty much like, I want to be known, like, I don't need to be famous, but I want to be known enough that, like, if I go to a comedy club that knows comedy, they're going to be like, we would love to have you on stage since you're in town.
Nice.
And then I want to be able to sell tickets to my own shows. Like, that's my goal.
Are you, do you feel like you're close to being able to do a special?
I could do one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be great.
Okay. Well, no. I mean, I wouldn't want to do a special if it wasn't great. So.
Ooh, okay.
No, but I mean, but that's the thing. Is that what you're like? Are you working towards like a 45-minute?
So I've been doing 45 minutes on the road.
Okay, great. Okay.
And the last 2 times I did it, like, I felt like I probably could have done more. I have to do an hour when I go to Thunder Bay next week, so I'll probably do an hour there and in Sault Ste. Marie just to test myself, push it a little further. Because when I did the 45s, like, I looked at my notes after, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even tell that one. I didn't even tell that story. Because I do a lot of crowd work now when I'm doing that. So I can probably eat up like 20, 25 minutes with just crowd work.
Okay.
If I wanted to.
Yes.
So I can push it to an hour, but I have 45 of material right now. So
okay. Yeah. And how long did it take you to get to 45 of material?
I don't know. I'm just going on 6 years now, so just over 6 years. So
but recently, so like
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I could have done it. Like, I did long sets before, but I don't know if I'd. Here's what I would say before. I could do 45 minutes probably like 3 years ago, if it's a crowd that likes my stuff.
Okay.
But if it's I've kind of got better now where I can even do, even if it's a crowd that doesn't like dirty shit or they don't like the offensive stuff, like, I can finagle my way into a 30 to 40 by just doing like whatever nonsense that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've also learned how to deliver some of my more offensive or dirty stuff that before, when I didn't have like the fine touch of delivery to a crowd that's not really into it. Now they're like, okay, he's silly, he's fun. Like, we know he's coming from a good place, whatever. So like, a lot of people say to me after, like, you get away with saying some stuff that like I would never say, or like, I don't know how you do it. Like, and I don't know how I do it either. I think it's just like people like my personality.
Well, I mean, like, likability is such a huge. I hear that too. It's like likability is just, that's one of those ineffable qualities. Some people are likable on stage, and some people aren't.
Yeah, and some people are great at being jerks, and I think there was a time where I was like, I certain jokes that I would be like, fuck it, I'm not gonna be likable, and sometimes it would work against me because one of my strongest qualities is being likable.
Yeah,
but then sometimes it is so funny to make the crowd hate you. Like, it is so funny to me. Like, the other day I was doing a corporate one, and the first 2 comedians like did okay, but like kind of a little hard because corporates are hard.
Yeah.
And I'm going next, and then there was one comedian going after me to close it out, and I whisper in that other comedian's ear, and I'm like, I'm either gonna loosen them up for you, or I'm gonna ruin their night. And they're like, well, try and loosen them up, and I'm like, it's up to them. I'll give them whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I ended up going up and doing good, but it is like like even when I've done shows where like everyone's killing, and I'll go up on stage, I'll be like, you guys are fucking having a great show, man. You guys are a great audience. You guys are having such a fun time. I'm like, should I just ruin it now? And like, it's like, sometimes it's funny, but I don't know. I remember you had Danton on recently, right?
Yeah.
So Danton had me do a show one time that was like, he had me headline this show in a crowd that's like, I would say not my cup of tea.
Okay.
Like, they're a little more sensitive, a little more like, very wokish.
Sure.
Let's just say that. And it was around the time where all these homeless encampments were like getting destroyed or whatever, taken. So I go up, and I know that they're not going to love me, but I also know Danton only asked me to headline that because he wanted to do a spot on the Rooftop Comedy, which is like whatever. It's just funny to me. Like, I'm like, I have no business being here. Danton likes me. I like Danton, but like, that was not the ideal spot for me.
Yes.
Anyway, so I go up there, and I'm like, yeah, you guys seem like a really nice crowd. Like, you guys probably like feel upset about all those homeless people getting kicked out of the parks, right? And they're all like cheering, like, yeah, that was fucked up. And like, well, I think those parks look a lot nicer without all those homeless people. And I was falling down laughing. And like maybe like 2 or 3 people in the crowd were laughing, but most of them were like, yo, this guy's fucked. But it's still to this day one of the funniest clips that I have on my Instagram. Like I laugh at that. Like I'm like bent over laughing at it.
I think the times that like the jokes that I say that make my wife gasp are my favorites. When she goes, right, but she a little bit liked it. Like those but I mean, one of my favorite memories of you, I feel like I bring it up all the time, is when Kevin Shawanda went up and did all this material about like reservations and indigenous people, and then you go up immediately after and goes like, wasn't Christopher Columbus pretty thick?
Yeah, Christopher Columbus was kind of cool.
Annihilated. And I love that.
It's so true, man. And Christopher Columbus, man, like the reason he was sick is because like as a character in history, he went over to the Americas. Whatever, he went to the wrong place. I don't care. He came back to Spain and he's like, hey guys, if we give me like 100 guys, there's probably like a couple 100,000 there, but if you give me 100 good men, I can take the whole place over. And they're like, what? You're gonna fucking take over a place with 200,000 people with only 100? Like, yeah. And he went over and he actually did it.
I mean, it took balls to enslave all those people.
Hey, that's a buzzword right there. That's trigger warning. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, if he's in Game of Thrones, we're like, that was pretty dope. Like, it's a different time, man. I don't know. It's tough. History's tough. I used to do a podcast, one of my other ones that I've given up on.
Yeah.
It's a great concept, though. Pros and Conquerors, the bad boys of history. And we would look
well, the name is great. First of all, the name is killer. I love it.
Yeah, we had a good logo and everything. And like the scales of justice, but we had, anyways, it was cool. So we would look at people in history, like good and bad. And we would just look at like what the internet has to say about them, like the best stuff and the worst stuff. Like some were like basic stuff that we know. And then some were like, we'd find out like Mother Teresa ended up being like one of the worst people that we looked at.
She was mean.
Gandhi was pretty brutal too. Genghis Khan, obviously, he did
Look up what Gandhi said about black people and just smash all your illusions about him.
Well, the funniest thing to me on that episode was Gandhi, like, there's stories about him, like, sleeping in bed naked with his, like, 13-year-old niece or whatever, like a young girl.
Just to prove how pure he was, right?
So he wrote her a letter, and he's like, the Muslims are coming to kill us. You better get over here quick and sleep in my bed naked so God knows, like, we're fucking pure as hell. Like, and I'm like, what a funny thing. Like, I was like, we should put that in my Tinder bio. You know what I mean? The Muslims are coming to kill us. Come sleep in the bed. Let's come sleep with me naked so we can go to heaven, baby.
You could use that now.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm down with the Muslims. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers. What?
That's good. I didn't know you had you.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I feel like I don't want to end on that, but I feel like
end on that. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen, my Catholic brethren.
I'll take that. All right, that's good. Dude, this was great. Thanks for coming. Yeah, right. We're at it like an hour.
When's this episode coming out? Weeks, months?
In like a week.
Okay, so yeah, if you're on the West Coast, I'll be in... no, probably not. I'll probably just be in Vancouver by the time this one comes out.
Yeah.
Go see my show in Vancouver. There's lots of tickets left. There's an ungodly amount of tickets left. I'm going to have to pray for some ticket sales. Also, just check me out at James. Come on now. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
It was good.